Cupcake?
How's the film review that one, Tom?
How did the film review? It wasn't good. I mean, we did some things that were really good, to be honest with you. We felt like we executed on offense. We felt like we got a lot of shots. Just didn't make some shots and made a couple mistakes, and they capitalized on them. Probably the one most concerning is why these 13-point-a-game guys are getting 25 and 30. It doesn't make any sense to me. But we are moving people around, and we're trying to put certain people on certain guys more by default than by just the way it is, and so those things that would bother me the most. But we're not even looking at the game film today. We're moving on to Maryland, and we're going to try to figure out a way to just play a little smarter and a little bit better. The last two games, there was enough effort there to win for most of the game. There was enough decent plays to win for most of the game in both games, and both teams are good teams. So, we're sometimes when when you're missing your defender at the point of attack, it creates some problems for other people, and so we're trying to figure out how we can get a little stronger at the point of attack, how we can get Denzel a little more rest. 38 minutes in both games is probably too many for him right now. How we can make some adjustments, and I mean, Maryland's is the best team I've seen on film. Trumbull it's amazing. Right now he's got 14 free throws in the Big Ten. He had 14 in our game, I think. He's playing a little different. I think he's really matured. He's making some unbelievable passes. Still can score the ball, but really letting the game come to him instead of forcing the action. Now he thought he did a little bit last year. So he's really matured in a year. And the Carter kid, the kid from Georgia Tech, I think has really made a difference. I mean, Stone, everybody knows, is a very good player, big and strong. But I think Carter gives him a dimension like the ultimate pick and pop guy, the guy that can hit 4 and 5 threes in a game. And Suleiman is kind of an X factor. He's gone 9 for 10 in a game. He's gone 0 for 11 in a game. So he's an X factor, and we all know he was a great player at Duke, and I think a good defender, very good athlete, and so we're going to have to work on containing him too.
What do you do with Trumbull? I mean, last year he obviously gave you guys, this is Aaron Harris's, or is it?
Yeah, Aaron Harris will probably, I mean, it's going to be a collection, but Aaron Harris is probably going to be the one guy, and then, Matt McQuaid's going to have to guard him some, but probably the area we'd miss Tom the most in would be that, but we're going to have to do a little bit better job with our bigs, maybe stepping up on some ball screens and doing some things with them, and trying to keep him under wraps. He's really playing well. If you watch any film on him, he really is.
Tom, your staple is defense, and last night it seemed like there were a couple times guys, effort was there, but almost watching the game and not playing the game. How do you fix that? I know that there's some trepidation because of fouls and all that, but how do you fix it?
Well, I think number one, we're playing a couple guys too many minutes, and maybe fatigue. But the foul thing, I mean, if you looked at Zell on a couple of those breaks, you get a foolish foul early on one that was.
He wasn't going to stop it.
It wouldn't have mattered. The guy couldn't make a shot if his life depended on it. So it was not a good play, and then you get that foul 40 seconds into a game, and I'm not complaining about the officials on this. It's just going to affect the game differently for different guys, and we're telling him you can't get in foul trouble. So that's never a good thing when you have to say that and do that. I mean, I don't mean against him. It's tough for all of us. But all honesty, I think I was pretty honest with you guys what I felt about the Iowa game. That has not been the case in the last two games at all. I even thought we executed better. I mean, I mean, you think about Brent Forbes getting the shots. I don't know what you guys saw from the floor, but what I saw and what you saw in film, I mean, he's going to make, instead of 1 out of 8, he's going to make 5 out of 8. That would be one thing. And then, we go in shooting 74 from the line, and we just we missed some free throws, and it wasn't 11 of 21 or 10 of 21, whatever it was. It was a couple front ends of a one-on-one. And in critical times when you're making a run, the crowd's getting into it, you go to the line and miss 2 free throws. In a 4 or 5 point game, that can be critical, and so we got to do a better job of that. But, Matt, for example, is one of our best free throw shooters and just didn't go in last night.
Denzel said something interesting about trying to defend Shields, and when he was backing him down, that you can't use the arm bar anymore, so he doesn't really know how you prevent the back down. What do you tell a player? Do you just set your feet, and as soon as they come into you, not backpedal and just fall? I mean, how does a defender handle that? What's the...
Well, we've given a lot of advantages to the offense in some ways, but, they had Shields hit some shots last night. He hit those jump hooks. He's averaging 13 a game. He had a career night. Probably was jacked to play. It was a big game, and he just had a career night. He got off to a decent start. In the start of the second half, when he made the 3 running layups in a row, you'd be asking the wrong guy if you're asking how to guard something without fouling, because I sure as hell haven't done a very good job of it. You can armbar the guy if he's in the paint down below a certain area in these new rules, but it is a difficult task. There's no question that bigger, stronger offensive guys have a bigger advantage right now. And, we're just going to have to deal with that better. One of the ways, I think, would be, and we missed some assignments with some young guys that stepping up on those ball screens so that he can't get around, or knowing that he's going right and not forcing him back to the left, like those 3 in the. But, some of those are because we're, playing people that maybe we wouldn't be playing as many minutes. And it's an interesting thought, but, when I get the same thing you guys get, I don't get it from you guys, I just get it from fans, whether it's about Tom or why aren't you doing this with Didi Moore, why aren't you doing that? There's always 2 ends of the court. There's always things you got to do, and there's cerebral things that take time. As I say, the Chick Diallo thing is the best example of that. And sometimes we're putting people in tough positions, but sometimes you don't have a choice to. So, there's 2 games that I thought we should have, could have won. Could have, should have won. I really do. And not taking anything away from either team. But Wisconsin was off the charts. Could have, should have won. And last night, we had our chances, and we didn't get it done. But I don't think it was, yes, we made some freshman mistakes on how to cover a guy, and yes, we did this, but it comes down to still you got to make some free throws, you got to make a couple layups, and you got to make a couple jump shots. Everybody's got to do their role, and we got to put guys in better positions. Meaning we got to figure out a way to scam our defense a little bit differently so that we can stop these guys that are having big nights.
How good is Stone? How is Matt doing today?
That's a question. Yeah. I didn't really see it when it happened. I saw a little bit on film, but the way the film was, it didn't show it. Some people told me it looked worse. I don't know where you guys were. He's been in the training room all day. If we played today, he wouldn't play. I think he's coming in here to talk to you guys. And I've only talked to the trainer today because he's been down there. But, that'll be a little bit of an issue, I'm sure. But the good thing about it is, they're usually playing a center. At least there's not as much movement as some of these teams when we've been playing that have, even the team we played last night didn't have a true center at all. So I don't know. That's a good question. I would think he'll play at what level? I don't know.
Gavin, after the Penn State game, I think it seemed like you guys thought you found something there. And the last couple games, it hasn't. What was it? Him thinking he could do more than he actually can a little bit, or what's transpired since that Penn State game?
Well, I think that's one of the problems when you have so many injuries that we've had, and we're moving people around. When one guy goes down, the sub wants to do what he did. And so everybody wants to try to, instead of playing the role that they're really best at, they want to try to all of a sudden be a scorer or be this or be that. And I think then it gets in the way of what you're good at. And so Gavin's got to get back to defending and rebounding because he could be one of the best defensive big men around, if you ask me. And, he was slowing himself down. He was doing a very good job. And all of a sudden, last night the ball's going through his hands. He's, in my humble opinion, I think he was just, not selfishly trying to. He just they think they have to make up for somebody else that isn't doing something. Bryn wasn't making baskets, so somebody else got to make them. And I thought we forced some things instead of let the game come to us.
Tom, what does Marvin have to do to get back on the floor?
Defend and rebound a little bit. I mean, he's not making many shots since his injury, but he's got to do those two things. He's athletic enough to do them. You guys sound like our staff meetings. Everybody's got a favorite guy and a guy that you think, should fit in. And the truth of it is, you're right. Everybody's got something they can do. But, I think what happens when everybody's trying to prove why they should be in there, when you're playing a lot of guys, and everybody thinks, even here, that I can score points. And you don't have to score points. What you have to do is play good enough defensively to keep yourself on the floor. Then the points will come. Unless you're one of those prolific scorers like a Bryn who could usually just come in and make shots. But none of those guys are that. And so if they just would stay on the floor long enough, early Didi was in foul trouble all the time. Aaron Harris again yesterday got 2 fouls early in the game, changes the game, and all of a sudden we just can't get Zell out, and maybe that's why, he struggles a little bit, although he shot the ball very well yesterday. So I think he's coming back in a lot of ways to more the guy that we had early in the year. But I'm sure he misses Tom a little bit too. It's playing the point position is more taxing on you than playing the off guards. And so he's just coming back, playing 38 minutes, plus moving into the point guard position. That's a lot on Zell's plate.
And this is a big game in terms of and it should be big in this game against them anyway, right, at the 4?
Yes, this is a better matchup game for us, I guess you're saying. But I think your first comment, it's a very big game. This thing with game day coming and that, I mean, we take it for granted, I think, sometimes. They aren't coming unless it's a big game and unless there's good teams and good program and good fan support and all the things that they need. And it's a very big game for us. And, don't be fooled by the losses. I told you don't be fooled by the wins. Early on, I said, we weren't playing as good when Zell went out. We won a couple games, pounded a couple teams. And I said, the same, well, I can say the same thing now. We've played good enough that we'll win a lot of games if we play a little smarter down the stretch in the last two games. But it is disappointing, but it's not totally surprising because we just can't get a lineup together. And it's not their fault. It's just the way it is.
Was it the foot that kept going down last night?
Yeah, and that's a guy that we got to try to get back in. It was the nose, then the foot. When the nose went, you say, well, big deal. You can play with a mask on. Some people can't. And some people play more timid with a mask on. And it's just a reaction to it. So, and then we started moving in a different direction, But Kenny's a guy that I think could and should probably play a little bit more, and I'd like to get Marvin back in. I'd like to get your guy back in. Because I do think hey, I told you, when the year started, I thought Marvin Clark and Gavin Schilling would be my two starting 4 and 5 men. You know, now Costello would have been in that mix, but it'll be a little bit like last year. We were starting Schilling instead of Costello because we needed Costello at the end. And now the only guy that made the free throws last night was Schilling, so give him some credit on that he's done a better job of that.
Any thought at all about just taking the shirt off Tum Tum, throwing him at Mello for one night?
Yeah, there's been a lot of thoughts about that, you know, I mean, but we're just not going to do anything that would damage Tum's, I don't mean future, because plantar fasciitis, it's not like it's going to get, the problem is, you know, I think they did some things medically to him, his shot being one of them, that takes at least 10 days to 2 weeks that you can't really do anything. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of those things go through your mind, but that won't happen. I wouldn't do that to him. I'm the one that made the decision to take him off, and I'm sure not going to do that, but can we get him back earlier? It all depends on how he reacts to this stuff. And but it has been, it's funny, isn't it funny you're saying that? At least I don't know what you guys think out in the world, but I got a lot of people thinking that he wasn't worth what he could do. Huh?
A lot of stupid
A lot of stupid commentary. I agree with you, but you know, he just brought some things, but he took some heat off of some other guys, and defensively, you know, and at the point of attack, you got to be at your best defense, and he gave us that chance. Now, the last couple of weeks, he was struggling too a little bit, but I know why he was struggling. He's not shown that in the past.
How nice would it be to see Draymond named an All-Star tonight?
Well, that would be awesome. You know, he called at 2:30 in the morning last night. You know, Draymond stays up on us every day. I mean, the guy is unbelievable, and it would be, I think it would be deserving, and I think it would just be another notch of a dream come true for him. You know, it would be, I think, special for us, but not as special as it would be for him.
I know we kind of joke about it at times, but with Tom out and defensive struggles, do you ever toy with the idea of playing from zone?
Yeah, we've toyed with it. We have. We really have. And that's what I said, though, and that's not a stupid question. But, you know, it's just, how many things can you change in a week or 2 weeks? I said the hardest thing that I've dealt with the injuries is the length of time they are. If they're 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I mean, I think we were cool with the two guys out. We knew it was going to be 6 to 8 weeks minimum. We knew it. We were cool with it. And Denzel, we had no idea. We had no idea if it was going to be a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks. With Tom, we have no idea. With, you know, I don't know who else we threw in there. I had a list last night. But so then you're trying to throw some guys in there that just aren't ready. So we're trying to simplify some things. Maybe look at some two-guard front stuff. But there's only so many things you can change when you got a couple of freshmen in there trying to make a change with, too. So believe me, it's not as easy as just, well, let's run a new offense or a new defense. We got veterans, but we don't have, we got some freshmen that are playing a lot of minutes. I mean, we started 2 freshmen the game before, and could have started 2 the other night. I'm just trying to take a little pressure off one of them, and the other one I got to make sure knows how to cover certain people, and but he'll get better at it. It's going to help him in the long run. It's just we got to weather the storms. You know, if you can win a couple of those games and still be 4 and 5 and 2 or whatever you are, you're feeling a lot better about everything. And even though you know you're not as good, you know you're going to be down the road. I don't want to dig ourselves a hole either. That's all? After that, 2 games? I deserve more. Yeah, good point.